But the D50 version of it, which is called the D05, is actually a direct recreation of the original, so much so that it'll load patches from the original and you can send it all the same commands. So I'm going to show you a piece of software that I've written for it that you might be quite interested in. So this is a project I started in lockdown when I was trying to get to terms with what the D50 could actually do. So I ended up building an editor for it to control all the parameters of what it could do. So this sends live information to the synth and it also receives it back. So when we change a patch, we see it all, and then we can go through and we can edit everything as well. And I tried to do it in a way that was a little bit different than the way that most other editors were doing it, in that it just wasn't a complete one-to-one map of every single controller that was on the screen. So we do have an edit view where we can see everything, and I created lots of different views and different ways of doing things on here, so that you can actually have like a controllable, easy to use envelopes and interactive components and all that kind of stuff. I built it all, so it did take me quite some time to do it, but the end result was that I had something that was really easy to kind of change things. So I could control the volume here, the balance between the patches, I could change the tone structures, I could see really everything at a glance that the synth did. And then what I did from there was then kind of took it a little bit further. So I did things like combining various operations. So this combines all the filters from all the different components in the synth together because it's got multiple bits at once. These are all the amplitude envelopes, all kind of merged together into one. And then what I did as well is I created user controls. So I could then control some of these dynamically from other controllers, from external controllers. This also runs as a plugin. It runs on iOS as well. And then I took a little bit further beyond that as well. I added in some features and the sorts of things that you might see on Serum, where we have dynamic controllers like LFOs, basically, that can go round and round, cycle, and they're locked to the clock. Different shapes as well. You can make your own too. Pulses and there's random ones and all sorts of stuff like that, and then you can map that to whatever you want. So you've got the entire components of the entire synthesizer that you can control, which is a little bit more than what you'd be able to do with a normal synthesizer. I was really trying to make this like what you would see in like a modular synth, so that anything could be wired to anything else, and you can see the updates dynamically as well as they're happening. So it also does, it's syncing to the host, but then it'll also do things like you can change it to be hertz instead of just locking straight to the clock. There's lots of various different options. Then I created a step sequencer as well. So that there is a sequencer within the existing one, but it's not really very good. So I created a sequencer here, and it has some of the kind of 303 sort of features as well, where you can join notes together, you can drift from one note up to the other. It's got velocity, it's got modulation too, so you can change a modulator if I wanted to target something different with it. I could completely do that. I could, change this to cutoff or LFO or anything like that, and then you can input and output these. You can save these just like a sequencer. You can load data in, and then as well it's got the full kind of librarian capabilities too, so I can load in banks that I might have loaded off the internet, and then use those too. So it's an editor, it's a sequencer, and a controller. It does a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to be looking for some people to test this who have D50s or D05s. This is eventually going to be a commercial piece of software, but if you want to contact me, reach out to me, and if you want to kind of test it, because I'm interested in using this, kind of ironing out all the bugs. So yeah, please let me know. It should run fine within Logic or within Ableton or anything like that, any of your DAWs. It also runs in standalone mode, which is what it's doing here now, and it should also work on a tablet on iOS, but I've yet to test that. That's one of my next jobs to do. It should run fine within Logic or within Ableton or anything like that, any of your DAWs. It also runs in standalone mode, which is what it's doing here now. And it should also work on a tablet on iOS, but I've yet to test that. That's one of my next jobs to do.